What's up, trainers? Coach MccDann here. Competition will always be intense. Players will put out their best effort against their opponents to ensure victory as often as possible. However, one thing that will stop viable competitors in their tracks with progress involves the pressure that is brought on with unfamiliar situations. So today, we're going to go over the concept of alleviating the pressure and dive into some mindful techniques a player can develop to help further their progress and emphasize what they've been improving upon. To warm you up today, we're going to make things interesting. Play 3 games against a random CPU and any competitive stage, but set the damage handicap to on in your settings. Set a 50% handicap on your own character and play it out. This warm-up is for the sole purpose of automatically placing you in a situation where you'll be under pressure to lose your stocks much faster. So keep in mind your awareness of your character's true combos on interactions you've learned, as well as settling with whatever results you might get at the end of these games. Along with the thrill of competition comes the opposition that every single competitor has to endure. Players of all skill levels will have hard-fought battles that earns their place as the winner, or falls short and become the loser. Sometimes players who compete to win will get wrapped up in their own head about their performance in a match, question their capabilities mid-match, be frustrated at their opponent's performance, not be able to comprehend why they can't execute a specific combo. The list can go on. So what can be said about this issue? How can so many competitive players get out of their own head and apply all their game knowledge so precisely? Well, just like most top players in competition, some have a naturally gifted talent. And others, well, they often struggle to get over this mental barrier without establishing techniques to adapt within the moment. So let's dive in and see just how we can take the steps to do so in our own situations. Let's take a moment and ask a question we'll be reflecting on in this lesson. When do you start feeling pressured within a game of Smash Bros? The answers can vary between each player and situation. Maybe you hate being outside of the stage in the blast zone and around ledges. Maybe you're playing a character that has a command grab you fall for every single time. You might even experience a difficult situation of never being able to close out games. Even worse, when you know you've had a big lead. So think to yourself, what does this look like for you? And if you feel as if you find yourself in multiple situations where you feel pressured, let's focus on just one scenario for now. But write this down and remember it for the next time you attend an offline local tournament. The act of staying focused and not caving to pressure is a tedious process that doesn't fix itself overnight. Remember when I mentioned that some players have a naturally given talent to adjust properly? Well, despite that person's talent, it's not 100% consistent. In fact, some of the best competitive players in Smash have most likely gone through more losses than anyone. But it's because of those hundreds of thousands of failed attempts in their past are they able to push through their opposition and become the champion. This is what's most difficult about competition as a whole. Despite our best efforts, someone else's might just be more efficient, but that shouldn't take away from any of the progress we've made to become our own best competitors. In order to establish the ability to maintain composure under pressure, one must place themselves in those vulnerable environments first. Still with me? Awesome! Let's get another exercise going. Dive into training mode and select Final Destination as your stage, and work on tech chasing your opponent for 5 minutes. Focus on the pattern of hitting the opponent and allowing enough time to follow up with a jab and a smash attack. It's one thing to understand that if you're a player susceptible to crumbling under pressure, but it's also important to recognize that you can change that about yourself too. The simple but gratifying first step to alleviating the pressure in a match is understanding that you most likely have been in that similar situation before. You can take what you know about that moment and utilize that information in a way you hadn't been able to before. That command grab that you kept falling into before? This might be the day you figure out how to punish that. Once you discover that solution by adjusting in that moment, understand that you can alleviate pressure simply by interpreting your match as a method of improvement, and that a win or a loss will result in some type of progress in your journey, no matter the outcome. Take the time to think your way through a situation instead of thinking of how nervous you might be in a game. This could be supported by positioning away from your opponent and waiting for a response from them before attacking, or taking deep breaths on the spawn platform to ease your mind. You might even take into note the impulsive habits your opponent makes because they, to be honest, might just be as nervous as you are. Regardless, these situations are never easy for either player, but it's also never permanent either. Understand that anyone can beat anyone. and you'll inevitably start building the confidence you need to compete with a much more secure playstyle after getting back up when you fall down. For our scrim today, head into online mode and play 5 games. Remember to play intentionally, and if you find yourself in the hot seat, recall what we've gone over in this lesson. And remember to take it one step at a time. This is Coach MccDann. Hope you've enjoyed learning more about this process, and until next time.